So this episode of Boruto, we actually get some confirmation that Boruto doesn't have the Byakugan. Now, I guess the question remains, what eye does he have? It's clear as day that he didn't have the Byakugan due to the last week's episode where we saw Toguro. So I guess the question is, could it be that Boruto has the Tenseigan? It's possible. It could be another version of the Gege Genkai with the Hyuga and the Uzumaki bloodline mixed in. Possibly awakening a new eye. We don't know. The thing about Toguro is this, because that is way too of an important plot point for them not to introduce it to the manga as of right now. They may introduce it later down the road, but as of right now, they did not introduce that, nor did they introduce that in the movie. It could be Toguro serves as nothing more than a guidance for Boruto throughout the series to guide Boruto to use his powers the right way, to appropriately. Because it's obvious he can't control. We saw him last at Naruto the last. He's the antagonist. He went against Naruto on the moon. The last we saw, he said he was going to atone for his sins by staying on the moon. That's the last we saw of him until last week's episode. Ironic, it was Hanabi who went against Boruto to try and teach Boruto about the Byakugan, because Hanabi in the movie lost her eyes due to Toguro. So I thought that's a neat way of tying itself up. Now, it doesn't explain how. It may be the Tenseigan that Boruto has, and that's the reason why you can see nobody else being able to see Boruto's eye activate. I think there's going to be somebody that does see it, and I'll tell you who I think that is in a minute. But the whole thing about Boruto going against Hanabi, he got schooled pretty hard. He got tossed around like a rag doll by Hanabi quite a few times. He tried throwing some shadow clones. There's one scene where he threw the kunai to launch a distractions, so a swarm of shadow clones could come from and surround Hanabi, but she uses rotation to blow them all away. Doesn't work. So we knew how that was going to end up. But it wasn't really about a loss for Boruto. It was about trying to see him if he could awaken his eye during a fight, and that's an obvious no, at least not right now. The thing that hurts him the most is the fact that it makes him seem like he was lying to everybody, which we know he wasn't. As a viewer, we know he wasn't. But the thing about Hanabi is she's no joke. In fact, I'm pretty sure every single time she's beaten Hinata, she's even stronger than Hinata. So is that the case now? I wouldn't be surprised. There's a quote by Naruto in this episode where he actually compliments Boruto by saying, "I'm not disappointed. At first I thought he was lying," which I thought was kind of fucked up because you didn't believe your own son. But then because the whole situation was brought up about Himawari, and Naruto kind of says, she hasn't unlocked it since that day, but he was there to see it. He did not see Boruto activate his eye, and he can't see it anyway. So that's the reason why he didn't believe him at first. But after seeing Boruto fight as hard as he did against Hanabi, it's like, yeah, he's not lying. And Hanabi kind of throws the same thing to Boruto, says, yeah, you weren't lying. You were telling the truth because you wouldn't have been coming at me like you did had you not believed your conviction. So that's kind of cool. Boruto kind of acknowledges the fact that he wants to be acknowledged by Naruto, by his dad. So it's obvious that closer and closer we get, the gap between them is going to be bridged. That's obvious. So the question is now, if the whole thing about nobody else being able to see Boruto's eye activate, including Shikadai and Mitsuki, I'm not saying he's going to be the only one, but I think Sasuke is going to be the first person. And there are a couple of reasons why I think this. Granted, these are to do with the manga-related stuff, but it makes perfect sense. If this is continuing throughout the series, and this is overseen by the people who do the manga, it makes perfect sense why Sasuke would be the first person. Number one, the whole situation, the aftermath with Momoshiki, we saw what went down when Boruto got his curse mark on his palm, when he saw Momoshiki giving the prophecy about your eyes later down the road will destroy the people you care about. Yeah, we remember that. But Sasuke could see it too. So I get the feeling because of his Rinnegan, he may see Boruto activate his eye at some point. Not saying he's going to be the only one, because Kawaki's obviously going to be another. And which poses another question: do you think Kawaki is in league, or at least responsible for unleashing this monster with Dark Chakra? As of right now, we really don't know, and we're getting closer and closer to the finale of this arc. One would think, given the preview. So it's obvious we're getting some answers, but nothing has been clarified yet. And there's another reason why too. This is very simple, but it's obviously Boruto does state in the manga that he wants to be like Sasuke down the line, so it makes perfect sense. If Boruto admires Sasuke as his mentor, it makes perfect sense that Sasuke will be the first one to see it. Now, I don't know if he's going to do that in the manga, if they're going to have it that way in the manga, because they've already gone past Boruto the movie already, but they could have it down the line. But it's like, again, it seems way too of a big deal for nobody else to see it but Sasuke, if they just introduce that into the anime. So I want to see if that gets resolved. Now, speaking of Uchihas, we saw Sarada approach Boruto in this episode. Boruto is actually looking at a poster of Kagemasa, about him acting like an idiot, and Sarada coming up behind and saying, "Yo, what are you doing?" Kagemasa gets possessed by the dark chakra, and Sarada comes up and says, "Yo, why don't we leave this to? I don't know what you're seeing, but why don't we leave this to the grown-ups?" And Boruto's like, "Hell no, I'm dealing with this myself. We can't rely on the grown-ups." And there's a shot of affection from Sarada. We got some cute Sarada Boruto moments in this episode. They have to get some interactions because the 2/3 of Team 7. So the teamwork dynamic was great anyway. Boruto actually gets pinned up against the wall for one of the rods. His jacket gets stuck. And then Sarada blocks it by throwing a kunai. She saves the day. And she's like, "Yo, Boruto, what are you doing? You let your guard down. You let your guard down." Now there's a gag. At first it seems like a gag because Kagemasa let himself go big time. Kind of like Anko in a way. I guess he ate one dumpling too many and he let himself go. He looks nothing like he did in the previous episode. And the whole complexion about him getting pissed off, the people questioning, "Oh, you're not going to cut down eating, are you? You're not going to get slimmer, are you?" That's what triggered his anger. That's what that's what allowed him to get possessed. We've seen this before. I guess they came up with a strategy a way of distracting and try and get one up on Kagemasa, because Boruto kind of like calls out Kagemasa, "Hey, you, I guess you can't stop eating, can you?" So Kagemasa grabs Boruto. Obviously, that's a shadow clone for distraction for Sarada to throw the Demon Wind Shuriken, the same Shuriken that Sasuke used in this fight with Zabuza in part 1, where he lost the Demon Wind Shuriken, and sure enough, the Shuriken happens to be a clone of Boruto. It's Boruto, but then he unleashes a clone, so he can get behind Kagemasa the same way Naruto got behind Zabuza. It's the different characters, different setting, but it's the same outcome. So Boruto comes in with a hit, KOs him, so that gets resolved. Judging from the preview, old boy Danzo's at it again, even from beyond the grave. He's still causing some shit. So I don't know if he's behind this chocolate manipulating people or not, but usually when it comes to shady shit and darkness, Danzo's fingerprints are usually all over it, so I can't wait to see that. All in all, a decent episode. Getting to see Hanabi fight with Boruto in this episode for the teamwork dynamic of Boruto and Sarada against Kagemasa. That was a great episode. Of course, the following arc is Viva La Naruto Gaiden, so I can't wait for that.